Okay, well, it looks like we're live. Had to wait a minute there for YouTube to wake up. But anyway, looks like we're all set. It is Monday, the 2nd of March. Thank goodness it's finally March. That's always my benchmark for having made it through the cold winter. And I know it's still chilly outside, but at least we get a few teaser days once in a while, and I'm excited about that. So, welcome to the show where we talk about aeromodeling and whatever else you like to do in your workshop, in your time off or your time on. Guess that depends on whether you're retired or not. But anyway, we uh, had a couple of new members the other night. Hopefully, we can get them in here joined up from YouTube, and that's always nice to take on some new blood. And our older guys should be older guys. Our usual crowd should be showing up any minute now. The links are posted in the normal places, which means the at the bench thread on Stunthangar Controlline forums. And as always, you have to be logged in as a member to Stunthangar Controlline forums in order to access the at the bench thread. And it's on the same page. If you go to stunthangar.com, you'll see the forum listings and the open forum where most everybody goes first. However, this one is down the list from open. It's called at the bench. It's called live streams, and the first thread in it I post every night when the show starts is the at the bench thread, and it should be popping up as we speak. And yeah, we're still waiting for it to pop up, but within 5 seconds, I believe we'll have it. And the following error occurred. Oops, I forgot to put the title in it. Sorry about that. Hang on, and we'll have your at the bench thread posted. Got so excited about it being March, I forgot to put the title in it. And click, boom, give it another 5 seconds and it'll be there. Okay, so the link is posted in the at the bench thread in the live streams. Yep, there it is. And so all you got to do is click that first bolded link. The reason I bolded it is because there are different ways to join up depending on what kind of device you're on. But no matter what, always try that bolded link first. And it will work with almost every device you've got, especially if you're running Chrome. I know that it helps if you run Chrome, and it's the most compatible browser we've got. So try that one first. If it doesn't work, you can always go over to the Stunthangar YouTube channel on YouTube, of course, and use the text chat box to post and ask questions. Meanwhile, we'll incorporate whatever you're saying into our conversations, and you can communicate with us that way. That way, you can be anonymous and still communicate with us, or you can click one of the links and come in live. So hopefully we got all that straightened out. We got Jack Snavely, David Phelps, and SD70 AC, and so.
In commerce, interstate highway in.
Hey guys.
Sounds like we got some background noise going on there. What we got going on?
Oh, I got tornadoes coming by the house. All the weather people are excited. But I've already been blasted, so it's all east of me.
Well, they obviously didn't blast you back to the Stone Age, or you wouldn't be on here with us, huh?
Well, that's true, but it was getting dicey for a little while. So my camper trailer's still where it was, so I'm pretty happy. So
that's good. Yeah, tornadoes are scary. We live in an eastern version of your tornado alley right here where I live, and so we're no stranger to tornadoes. And so anyway, well, I hope everything is where you left it in the morning when you go out and look around in the morning daylight. Looks like Gerald just joined us from New Zealand. Hey, Gerald, good to see. Gerald says he'll try watching while he works outside. we'll be happy to swap our summer weather for your winter, as we've had our fair share of winter weather now, I think is what he's saying. And Tom Remmel, you're on live with us. How are you doing tonight?
Hi, Rusty. I'm doing well.
Hey, Tom.
Hi, Ken.
Since Kim and Tom were both on the other night, and I tried to tell you a couple of times, Tom Remmel had sent you a private message on Stunthangar. I didn't know if you ever heard me say that, because I get.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, good. I kept getting.
We just had some we had some lively conversation going on.
Yeah, it's hard to talk without getting stepped on around here sometimes.
Yeah, it works out. No, I appreciate it, Tom. We're gonna see. If I can get the hull sealed up enough that I think it's pretty much waterproof, I may give it a try. But it's going to do some flying at Small or a couple other places before I get too frisky with the water. But
yeah, I was really happy to see you working on it.
It's your fault. So, well, I got the little Skylark, and I've been talking real big about it. And then they called my chips in, and I couldn't stand seeing the navigator sitting over there. So it was about in the stage ready to receive its silk span. And when I got around to that part for the little Skylark, I thought, well, I had the dope and the silk span out. We're just going to do them all. So I'm going to try to recreate its original paint, and we'll see, or its scheme. So, but I'm not out there tonight. I started to head out and take the computer with me. That's why I'm in the dark show. But it's raining and raising Cain out there now.
I was about to ask you if you realized you did not have a picture. But
I don't know what that's about. I don't know how to fix it unless I just back out and come back in. There was a little note that came up and it said was not able to access your camera, and I didn't do anything different, so I'm not sure what the.
Yeah, just back out whenever it's convenient. Just back out and come back in. It might fix it, or else if you hover your mouse near the center bottom of the screen, there's a microphone, a telephone, and a camera round icon. Okay. You can try.
Yeah, the camera's got a hash through it.
Yeah.
Okay,
click on that.
Try that.
That might fix you.
Yep.
Looks like
we're a little slow tonight.
Looks like Denny joined us. Hey, and Gerald gave us a super chat. We appreciate that, Gerald. Appreciate it a lot. And hey, Denny, good evening. How are you?
Real good. How about you?
Oh, I'm pretty good. I'm good enough to get along, so I'll call that a win. And it is now, it's the first show in March. And March is always a benchmark month for winter being behind us. I know that it's technically not true, but I start calling it that anyway. So, whatever kind of grief you can. It's March, winter's over, have fun. All right.
Yep. Well, I got hail bouncing around out in the yard, so that's springtime as far as I'm concerned.
Yep. Yeah, that's springtime, all right.
This is the time of year that all the fish houses have to be off the lake by midnight tonight.
Oh, really?
Oh, really? So we were talking about that the other night, weren't we, Tom? Were you on when we were talking about ice fishing?
I may have heard something about it, but I wasn't on that during that time.
But I don't remember hearing that there was a deadline to get your shanties off the ice, though. And we were talking about people who have not followed that rule and ended up losing all of their shanty and gear.
Right.
So that doesn't sound like it would be very fun.
It's just for like the southern half of Minnesota. The northern half still has a few weeks left.
When will the entire lake be melted for boating and skiing and recreation?
On the lake that I live on, ice out is between the 1st of April and the 15th of April. Almost every year it's in between that 2-week period.
Yeah. I've never seen a frozen lake before, except in the background. Except in the background on one of your pictures
Yeah.
through your window, I think.
That's something.
Yeah, it is. It would take a lot of getting used to drive out there on a small recreational vehicle just to
Yeah.
learn to be comfortable, trust it. But I suppose you'd grow up doing it all your life, and you learn how to tell where to go and how thick the ice is, and know how to be careful. So, just like any hobby, practice safety, and you'll be usually okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got myself involved in a thing. I was actually somehow got to where I was seeing a lady up in northern Wisconsin, and she got me roped into this event they have up on Superior. It's called Book Across the Bay, and there's a frozen bay, and you either you or snowshoe it or snowmobile it. And so I got myself in that. It's 11 miles and walking in snowshoes. And by the time I got to the end of that deal, I didn't want nothing to do with snow or ice or snowshoes or just about anything. I was shot.
No
And I
kidding.
still get invitations from them because they got my phone number. I got my address. Oh, man.
You hadn't had the heart to tell
All
them.
right.
You just can't quite get into that, huh?
Well, 11 miles in snowshoes would be a heck of a
Well,
workout, wouldn't it?
oh,
I
well, it
believe
was
it
almost
would.
more than a workout. I thought they were going to have to see if an ambulance could drive out there.
Oh, geez.
The funny thing was, as a joke on me, nobody had really talked about distance. And out on the lake, they have these bonfires on the ice. As strange as that seemed to me, well, I was looking at the first bonfire, thinking, "Oh, I ought to be able to make that." I thought that was the other side of the lake. It was not the other side of the lake. It was
No.
a stop. But they have a big sense of humor up there because there are places where the ice is, and you guys up north will know about it, but the ice is pushed against itself and made kind of a little shelf. And there was a sign on one of the shelves that this ice shelf is brought to you by Joe's Restaurant. And it's on the other side. And be sure to, there's a little neon sign set in the ice out there all by itself. It's kind of a surreal moment. And
Yeah.
seeing pup tents with chimneys sticking out of them, that, for somebody from Southern Illinois, that was an experience. Those are hardy people up there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what it's called, Book Across the Bay. So
I don't know.
one
I
time
went
was
walk.
enough.
My in-laws have a little inland. They're on a little inland lake. They got a cottage on the lake. And I remember the first time I was ever up there in the wintertime. Cold, snap and everything like that. The ice is very well developed and everything like that. It was safe, certainly, to walk on it. But what got me is that it was a bright, sunny day, and because of that, the solar load on the ice, it was like shifting and cracking, and it's like you kept hearing what sounded like gunshots. As the ice kind of scooting against itself or something like that, and it just echoing through the ice and everything like that. And I was terrified, even though there was no imminent danger of falling through or anything like that. I just could not wrap my head around that. So I figured my answer to ice safety was to stay the heck off of it. So
no kidding.
Yeah.
Well, there was I heard the popping and cracking sounds, but there was also kind of a weird harmonic hum. And I thought it sounded like whale talk to me. Of course, I don't know. I don't think they have whales in Lake Superior, but I think it was some kind of harmonic vibration out across the sheets of ice. But I heard it about halfway through, and at that point, I thought I was going to die anyway. So let's just get this thing over with. And but it was an experience. So but never find my body.
That's it. And hello, Bill.
Yeah, where I live, they have to have the ice shacks off today. This is the last
You're in Minnesota also, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was out flying electric glider today, and it was kind of breezy, but the thermals were good.
Sure.
But I stayed off the lake. I know the last time I was out there on Saturday, I could hear those noises, and it makes me nervous too. I know they're driving with pickup trucks out there, but still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that sound was just all encompassing. It was just, it was like, well, get me off of this thing. Lord, if you let me off this ice, I promise I'll never go back out there again. And I've been true to that. I have not. So anyhow.
Well, Wednesday we leave to go to Duluth for the robotics competition.
Outstanding.
So Wednesday night we set up the pit area, and then Thursday, Friday, and Saturday is the actual competition. So
what do you
kids are all
think?
excited.
Is the team and the machine ready to go?
It is, yes.
Great.
And we worked on the programming to get the distance shooting working. The camera adjusts the robot left or right for the target, and that's been working fine. But now we have the rotational speed of the shooter programmed in, so the camera determines the distance, and then it either speeds up or slows down the shooter to get it more accurate for the distance.
Wow.
So that's programmed in now too.
That sounds like a wonderful piece of coding by the students and stuff like that to make that happen. Nice little piece of coding.
We've got some good people on the team.
Maybe we should see if they can write programs for electric speed controls and stuff like that.
Yeah, really.
That's it. Get them to help Tryon out with his programming.
There you go.
They probably work right into that. So, morning, Steve.
Hey, how's it going?
About half. How about you? All right. Very good shirt.
Get the museum shirt on tonight. We'll advertise for everybody.
All right.
So I brought one thing to show. It's a free flight, but it's got a Windmap 049.
Whoa.
I remember when I was a kid, my dad bought a plastic Corsair. He got it for a few bucks, Controlline, and he was going to fly this thing. And I think the line was only about 15 feet long. And he got it up in the air, and he went around so fast and got dizzy and fell. But that's what kind of got me started to thinking about model airplanes.
All right.
Yeah, I can never understand why they call it free flight when it was so expensive. As your model flew away and all that stuff. Damn. I don't know. I guess it's free forever, whoever finds it.
There you go.
Well, most all the guys, they have those tracking units on them, with the directional antenna, that sort of thing. And I guess the really high-tech ones have some kind of GPS, but most of them have those tracking units that they use like on birds and that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was back in the day when I was a kid, though. It's like, I forget who was saying on here about free flight. They just couldn't do it because they spent all that money on a motor and it flies away and they lose it.
Yeah, well, it can happen. And then, the early days, they didn't have the dethermalizers. So, I mean, and you hear stories where they would chase it for like an hour, sometimes in the car.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's like the ultimate success is your airplane flies away, and the ultimate failure is the airplane flies away. I mean, You know, it's like,
Mhm.
hey, you know, my airplane flew away. What are you doing? Bragging or complaining? You know, whatever.
Well, I was like, when I was a kid, we all had to make paper airplanes. All the boys did anyway. I don't know what the girls did, but then we went out in the backfield, the recess place we had there. We had ball fields and stuff like that. See how far we could fly an airplane. And I had my dad show me how to make one or whatever. I think we're in the 4th grade. It was a jet style, and everybody had all these real fancy ones and stuff. And so we all started throwing paper airplanes, and one of the teachers were measuring. Well, I fly mine, and it starts to come down, and all of a sudden it just lifts off and just keeps going, flies over top the school and just disappears. Everybody's like, how'd you make that airplane stuff? So I'll show you. You think I could get one to fly 5 feet after that? Hell no.
You did it once, pal.
Did it once. I mean, why that one flew so good? It must have been that the paper was heavier at one end and it balanced better. The CG was good or something.
No, it probably caught
thermal.
a thermal and just it might still be flying somewhere. But.
Yeah, I mean, it was just gone. It went across the street and out through a field, and we just through the farmer's field, and where it went, who the hell knows? But yeah, it could still be flying someplace. But yeah, try to duplicate it. Every guy in the class was trying to build them airplanes like like mine. And no, we couldn't get them to fly with a shit, no place. But
well, anyhow, I wanted to show the Windmap because I guess those were really popular in those ready to fly planes at one time. They even were on TV commercials.
That's it. They were, was it Roger Ramjet? They were the sponsor for that?
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, and if you think about the technology back then to make something that small, it would have been a lot easier to a 15 size or something to machine and tolerances, but Cox and Windmap and
making them buy
Cub,
making them buy the millions while they were at it.
Yeah,
That's it. Leroy Cox set up to make those precision. I mean, I always use him as my things. I thought his were the best, most consistent engines and anything like that, everything like that. But the fits he had to achieve across and for were in many cases throwaway items. They go out, put it in the plastic airplane, and one crash later, that was that. But they ran and they did what they were supposed to do. So
yeah, and I mean, even
And eventually,
the old Cubs were cheap, and you could put them in a little free flight, and if it did fly away, by chance it didn't cost you an arm and a leg. Same with that Windmap one there.
Or with the Controlline planes and stuff, eventually you had a couple of drawers full of spare engines that you needed to learn to build around.
Seems to me Larry Ranger did he was the guy. He's been involved in small models forever. He was involved, and used to work at Cox for a long time also. But he set out on a little mini project. He started with a Windmap 049, and he wanted to push the performance on it as far as he could. His goal was just to make it run as good as the Reed Bell, Coxes and stuff like that. And he just kept tweaking and bending and morphing and this and that and the other thing, and he never could get it to equal the Cox engine. Although he got a tremendous improvement in it, he couldn't quite bring it completely home. But there's a real nice thread on that in the Half A forum if you go looking for it somewhere.
Those were the ones that had the composite or plastic crankcases, are they not?
Yeah, there was like the Testers McCoy also.
Right. The Testers McCoy evolved from the Windmap. But if you have a genuine Windmap, that was a nicely made little engine, nice lightweight bottom end casting and so. There's no that's not a plastic crankcase, is it?
Not on this
Yeah,
one.
I
Yeah.
got a few of those. I got a few of those in the drawer somebody gave me years ago that I've never used for anything. I ought to break them out and play with them sometime. See what
I
they
got
will
this
do.
one from a Bill Schmidt from Kansas, and he collects these. I guess he's got like 100 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And oh, he's just so picky on them and stuff. And he gets mad if you don't use the right wrenches on them and stuff like that. You know, just.
Well, that's like if you go to the AMA museum, you can see, a lot of the old 49 stuff and Cox and everybody else. I mean, it was just nice that all these companies came along and got people interested, and then things got better and better.
Right. And the big thing was the glow plug,
Mm-hmm.
With the glow plug, they could get the weight down enough that a small engine was practical.
Yeah. Bill, what is that chrome ball on the stand
What
right in
about
front of
the
you there?
early?
Oh, that's my microphone. It's one of these snowball blue microphones. They're supposed to be pretty good.
Well, you're coming through great, but I've just never seen one. It looks kind of
You got
techy.
good bandwidth. Yeah, you got good bandwidth on your audio and video, and you got a Bluetooth keyboard in front of you too. Don't you?
I thought it was a wild ass drone or something.
Yeah, it's wireless. Yeah.
Hey, Mike, how's it going, man?
Clean
Hi,
and
Mike.
see my fingers. I've been doing cap strips.
So how many times you glued yourself to the airplane tonight?
Just twice, and then I figured out a method that worked a little better. So I've decided that doing cap strips is the second least favorite thing next to hinging. So
That's what you were doing last week, hinging. So
yeah, today I got the Velcro.
Yeah,
I got the tips on and half the cap strips on. The fuselage is finished. The tail's done. So if I get the rest of the cap strips on tonight, maybe the center sheeting, I'll be sanding and doping the wing tomorrow for them.
One thing I did find, I figured out on my own about cap stripping. You start with the longest rib first.
yeah.
So when you screw up, you can move it down and use it
Yep.
for one of the other ones.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it didn't
I
take me a
saw a
long
poll on
time to figure that one out.
No, it didn't take me long either. It's like, shit.
And somebody, I saw a poll on Stunthangar one time of what's your least favorite thing to do in modeling, and I think it was Laurie Malia posted cutting cap strip had to be his least favorite thing. I think that's who posted that reply to it. So. All the cap strips, punch no kit. I think they are. I hope they are.
Well, that one is all cap strip.
I keep getting a message that says my microphone is noisy.
You guys see this photo from Oshkosh?
My microphone.
You got no picture, Tom.
Yes, Rusty, your microphone is on, but you're cutting in and out for me.
Okay, I'll try turning it down a little bit and see what happens.
That's much better. Right there.
Can any of you see this photo from Oshkosh? Of
No.
all these guys?
Got a black
I'm trying to share a photo.
You got a black screen.
Black screen?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Oh, it says connection lost.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
Yeah,
Maybe if my bandwidth is too low.
It looks like it's coming back.
there you go.
Here it comes. Be patient, it'll come back. That's what happens with low bandwidth. The screen goes black and you just gotta wait it out. While
I was
we're
just
waiting on
wondering-
that, our railroad.
Wondering if any of you knew any of the
Go ahead.
guys that were in this photo. They're all Controlline guys that are volunteers at Oshkosh.
You went black again, Tom.
Oh,
That's probably Dan. I don't know how you say his last name. McKenty, and Traxler. Don't those guys do?
I can tell you, yeah.
Don't they do Sky Venture at Oshkosh?
Kid Venture,
Mhm.
yeah.
Kid Venture. That's what I meant. Yeah. Yeah, they're forum members.
Yeah, I think Dan is from St. Louis, I believe.
Yeah.
Is that,
Are you sick, Mike?
No, why?
I see you drinking Sprite.
Very funny, Steve.
I'm like, hell, you're from Michigan. You drink Verner's if you were sick, though.
I would.
I think the last time I had that graphene battery, well,
Yeah.
I weighed that, and that is quite a bit heavier than a regular lipo.
Yeah.
And then I flew it in an RC plane, and it seemed the same.
Yeah.
And from what I'm hearing now, it's like they're good if it's like a really high draw application. Then it holds up real good under a lot of draw, but otherwise you're better off with a regular lipo.
Mhm.
Yeah, like jets, the electric jets or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were good in that because them guys really hammer that on, coming across the field and doing stuff, and then they back off. But yeah, they can really take a lot of abuse. So, yeah, about 20C
Hey, railroad guy.
we found out works good,
Jeez.
with Controlline. 25C. You don't need anything more than that.
Okay. I was asking about
I was trying to.
the team racing, and I thought I read somewhere where they were running pressure. So, I mean, how do they start those engines on pressure by hand flipping? I don't know.
Oh, technique. You just get it down. It's just a matter of getting it. I used to run pressure and rat racing Goodyear. That was just crankcase pressure.
Uh-huh.
But even you watch Mike or somebody who's used to using pen bladders and combat plane and stuff, and it's like there's nothing to it to watch him do it. I mean, there's more. There's more going on than meets the eye, but you can't tell because they just handle it so naturally and everything. So.
I mean, I've used them on the free flights, but I always got electric starter, and it's one that's foot operated, and
yeah,
you release that thing and push it in there, and away it goes. But I tried flipping it by hand, and usually you get it flooded or something or other.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't always start out that way, Dennis. It's not easy when you first learn to do it.
Yeah.
After you get the face a couple times because you pulled the fuel line off the nipple, or you forgot to pinch the line and you flood it, you figure it out pretty quick. But after that, it just becomes natural. It's like anything else. It's like starting any other.
It's like, how do you get to Carnegie Hall? Yeah.
Practice.
Yeah, practice. All right.
And the other thing I ran into, I had an old K&B 19, and then running it on pressure, and it didn't run all that consistent. And then I put an OS needle valve assembly, which I guess has finer threads, and that fixed that. But it's been kind of a learning experience for me running on the pressure.
You got to run a fine thread needle on anything on a bladder, because if it's too coarse, one click either way is either too much fuel or not enough.
Uh-huh.
So a long taper fine thread is your best friend running bladders.
Yeah. Other thing on a KB, Well, this is I had an old style K&B greenhead on a stunt plane, and I put a small piece of fuel tubing right at the base of the needle valve over the spray bar to act as kind of an external rubber gasket for the whole thing. The needles would be prone to leak just a little bit through the threads and stuff. The threads are kind of, weren't real they weren't cut real clean or something like that. They weren't a great fit, and that helped a lot. So some engines are more sensitive to that or some needles are more sensitive to that than others, but that worked well on the K&B. So.
These are all front rotary valves you're talking about on this K&B.
Yeah, well, the K&B greenhead I was running was that way. I think the later series, by the time they got to the rear intakes, I think they had a different needle style, more of a collet setup. Didn't have the the big, great big brass needle with the spring clip and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
For me, I always liked the Super Tiger style needle. Just the simple wire with the clinching nut to set the tension and stuff. And never cared much for a clicker either. I'd rather just be able to turn the needle and not make it click. So I'd always go to try to turn it one more click, and then it would go like 5, and it's like, oh, geez,
Yeah. Randy Smith argued differently about that on one of his threads one time, saying that it was easier for people who are basically unfamiliar or not all that skilled with adjusted needle valves, that it was better for them to have a clicker because you didn't have to fine tune it meticulously. But I always opted for the meticulous fine tuning, a piece of rubber hose to clamp it down, and just use that for a compression friction fitting rather.
When me and my buddies still fly, we'll say, hey, lean it out 2 clicks, and there's no clicker on the needle valve.
Yeah,
but we still say that. That's just or 1 click. It you don't have to go very much.
So Bill, do you live in Winona?
I do.
Are you in the Bluff area or?
Yeah.
Okay. I live west of Minneapolis.
Okay.
An hour west of Minneapolis. It's all flat here.
Oh. We got, it's, bluffs all around, and I do some of the RC slope soaring, but there's just not, it's all pretty much covered with trees, but there's one place you can fly out of, you can land in a tiny spot, and if you don't crash, you're fine, but there's 500 feet of slope there, and there's a whole lot of lift.
As long as you can land it in that spot without crashing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mother Nature is making a lot of places to slope soar here in Michigan along the Lake Michigan coastline. I mean, hell, the houses are falling in. You can just go stand on their old driveway and fly off the slopes.
That's it. Well, hey, the guys who get their 8-hour LSF slope flight, they all do it up on Sleeping Bear Dunes. So.
Yeah, there's been stuff on TV and the government stepping in, and I just really don't care if rich people's houses fall in Lake Michigan. It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, should have built back a little further.
Or a lot further.
Or a lot further, yeah. You know, look out the picture window. It looks
What
like
is the
what?
what is the geography like around there? Is it muddy like it is on the slopes of the mountains in California, or is it rocky, or what's it like around Michigan, Lake Michigan?
Sand over there.
One great big sand dune from
Okay.
from top to bottom. Yeah.
And that's why that
So
stuff
you
caves
gotta
in so
build
easy.
deep.
Yeah, up
So
around
you gotta
Sleeping
build
Bear.
very
Up,
deep valley.
yeah, the Sleeping Bear Dunes is up around the northern edge of Lake Michigan.
Yeah.
And it's like 45 degrees slope off the lake, up a couple 100 feet. And
Yeah,
it's,
you can't even grow,
it's sand.
dune grass there. I mean, when you get over by the western edge of Michigan, everybody has dune grass. It's really long grass that has deep roots to stick in the sand because you can't grow grass or anything there worth a shit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you can really tell how much sand there is when these big waves come in and cut these houses out. You look at it and there's like 40 foot of sand piled on top of, and how deep it goes under the water, who knows? But yeah, it's not very stable land anyway over there.
Yeah. I can't imagine. I just can't comprehend,
Yes.
They don't know any better than that. The architects and whatever involved, don't have more sense than that. But,
well,
The
if you
people
look
that
at
write the local building code.
well,
yeah.
they build them on like pillars that they take a big drill and drill down in the ground and put a tube in there and pour it with concrete. And then they build on that.
Yeah.
But once the waves come in, it eats out all them pillars, and all you see is these big cement pillars hanging in the air, and all of a sudden, in goes the house. But yeah, it just you feel bad for them people, but the poorer people that were on the next street over, now they have lakefront property.
That's right.
Yeah, with probably a little bit more of a solid foundation too. They got bedrock farther back, I hope.
Well, you have to go down a ways,
What
But
I thought was crazy was I was watching that thing on Smithsonian. They fly aerial something. They showed different states. They were showing Hawaii, and there was all these fancy houses there, and a big lava flow came down and added so many hundred of feet of rock beach area. But they then said that the people didn't own it, that Hawaii owned it. So now these people who had beachfront property don't have beachfront property anymore because the volcano made more land and it doesn't belong to them. So now they can't put up docks or whatever for their boats and stuff. I'm like, ain't that a kick in the teeth? But maybe they can buy it from the state.
Well, it's interesting.
Hey, Al,
I've been out there several times and stuff, and basically none of the beaches are private. It's all state property. All of the waterfront, even the houses that are built like right along the waterfront, you're building. Basically the understanding that people are walking along the beach in front of your house and stuff like that aren't trespassing or anything like that. So.
Okay. Yeah, maybe that's why that law went in, but. But yeah, it added a lot of property in front of their houses.
Of course.
Hey, y'all, listen. We got our new train guy out here with us. I thought he had gotten I must have misunderstood. I thought he had gotten logged into Stunthangar the other night and was a member now, so he can get in here live with us. But turns out he's not a modeler. He's a full size. I don't know. Do you call them pilots, engineers? But anyway, he was what happened to him today. They were coming.
You're breaking up, bad, Rusty.
Northumberland to Bloom. I'm breaking up.
Really bad.
Oh, shit. Okay. I'll try turning my mic down. I'll be back with that story momentarily.
Okay.
I gotta go to my settings.
I don't think it's the microphone. I think it's the bandwidth. Probably.
Yeah, you went to red for some reason all of a sudden.
Maybe so. Let me turn my bandwidth down a little bit. Sometimes it helps.
Yeah, you're yellow now, so it's getting better.
Yeah. How does my microphone sound now?
A little better.
Anyway, they were halfway through the trip. I thought all of this was in the past. Hey, come on, guys. What about now? Is it any better now?
At least you're blue on your microphone. I don't know what blue is. It went out, but
I don't know. I turned my sound way down. Let me turn my microphone down.
oh, you haven't broke up now for a bit.
It's not.
Try your
Okay.
story again.
Okay. Anyway, this is SD70, or a railroad guy. I was driving a train, and halfway through the town line, they found out they'd been spewing diesel fuel the whole time, and nobody noticed it. And so they had to shut the train down in the middle of the trip, and I guess call out a crew to do a cleanup. He didn't specify on what they did about it, but he wanted to pass that adventure along. So there we have it. And we'll get him on here live one of these days. I don't know what the story is. I thought he was a modeler, but he's a full-size train guy, and he's driving these. Or he's been his name SD70 is a Caterpillar branded locomotive engine, which is pretty impressive. I looked it up, and it's diesel electric, and they had one on display at Las Vegas where I looked it up, and quite an impressive machine. But I don't know a damn thing about railroad stuff, but hey, it looked pretty cool to me. But he wanted me to pass that along, so there we go.
I'm wondering if you're going to ask him or
How'd
what.
my mic sound?
If he listens, do they put a camera out the back of the trains now? Because they don't run cabooses anymore. That used to be the caboose guy would notice if fuel was.
Yeah, that's right.
And I wondered how they did that. You know, they might be able to get that thing from Chevy that makes the trailer disappear.
Visible.
Yeah, back there.
He said they closed one lane down because of the lake. What about it, SD70? Do y'all have rear pointing cameras to see if you're leaving anything behind, parts full, anything like that? Tell us about that.
I drove out of a campground with my shitter pipe open on my RV once.
That's one way of draining it.
You were a popular fellow, weren't you?
No, I had already drained it. I'd been to the dump station. I just forgot to close the valve and put the cap on. So when I got driving, there's a little bit of sloshing going around, and there was a couple of Klingons in there, I guess, still hanging on.
Yeah, I did that coming out of
at least it wasn't your, at
Brodak.
least it wasn't your old aunt's dog.
Yeah, right.
Leaving out of the gnats at one time, I dropped all the black water and all that kind of stuff. Well, I just opened up the petcock for clean water and took off, and oh my God, I had all these people beeping and pointing, and they think that radioactive material was hitting their car or something, or it was on the road. So I finally just pulled over and let it drain out. I had like 60 gallons in there, but it was just clean water. Oh,
Just trying to lighten the load, right?
but yeah, I never pulled it with, pot. It's called potable water, but I wouldn't drink out of it. But just because of the weight, so when I left the gnats there, we had filled up, I don't know, a couple days before that, not used much water. So, I wasn't going to pull 600 extra pounds along with me. I just let it drain out, but then we pulled over. It took, 15, 20 minutes, and all emptied out. Down the road we went. But yeah, I mean, that was the time that I found out when I did it that way, because I always pulled the plug on the water heater and everything, drained everything down. I don't know why we were in a hurry. But when I did it that way, I didn't drain the water heater, and that water sat in there. And I went to use it and talk about something that stunk. That water in the hot water heater went bad somehow. I ended up having to bleach it so many times, pump bleach through it, the whole system to get the system clean. So from then on, we didn't have to worry about people honking their horns or anything going down the road, because before I left, that plug come out of that water heater and drained that completely down. And
I bought a fitting for mine, and I would just blow compressed air through the whole system
blow it out.
instead of even winterizing it with antifreeze. I did that a couple of times, but then a buddy of mine turned me on to this deal where you just run compressed air and just blow all the water out of everything. So I started doing that instead of paying $8 a gallon for antifreeze for it.
Yeah, that's what I did too. And then I always still poured antifreeze in the traps. Because you
blow
can't
air out, you don't need to do that.
Yeah, but you had to have a special kind of plunger or something to blow it out of the traps. Or I guess you can make something up and blow the traps dry. But I just, pour a little bit in each sink, and that was, that's good. But yeah, so I only had that one. I mean, all the times I had a camper, motorhome, all that one time they were leaving and not getting stuff done right, boy, I sure caused myself a lot of work. But oh well, live and learn. Oh, I did see something on BBC tonight, and it was talking about new inventions or people coming up with stuff. And the first one was an H2O machine that the guy's made for the military. It sells for $100,000. And I was watching, all it is a dehumidifier. And I'm like, oh my God, I worked. Take a dehumidifier, call it an H2O machine, and sell it to the military for $100,000. and they were saying how much cheaper it was in the desert to do that instead of haul water. But I just can't imagine there's much moisture in the air in the desert to pull out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but they said it was cheaper because a liter of water was 300. They figured was $300 in the desert to get it to the troops and stuff like that. By the time that they pumped it someplace, brought it in, because over there it's just salt water and stuff. So I'm like, damn, I wish I had thought of that. You know, so, but they had something else there MIT came up with. And somebody there found out that, and they won't say much about the process, but just the heat in the air, stuff when the air heats up, they can run that heat or put it on a roof or whatever, and the heat will generate electricity. So it showed MIT they had a big air handler, and it was for the exhaust of the building. They're taking hot air out of the building and then generating electricity, running it over whatever they have made. And they said they really don't understand exactly how everything works, but it's working. And one of the other guys there took a solar panel and hooked it to a heat sink deal like that, because I guess solar panels, as a 1 degree of temperature rise, knocks down so many percent or a fraction of percent of efficiency off them. So he hooked it to a heat sink. It keeps the solar panel cool, which makes it more efficient. And then the heat that it does sink out of there makes electricity. You know, they said it was a ways away from, you know, coming to fruition, but they couldn't believe, you know, somebody just came up with trying something and saying, hey, if you heat this up, it gives off electricity. But just how smart some of these kids are there, or lucky, one of the two. But they were saying,
yeah, you know what? I think I saw on YouTube the other day about what you're talking about, and I've kind of on the back burner. But now that you've mentioned it, I'm gonna go look at it tomorrow with my regular science guy shows that I watch, and see if that's what we're talking about.
yeah, because I
Sounds
was
pretty
thinking,
interesting.
you know, that what I think 62% is all the efficiency they get out of an electric motor. Since electric motors were developed, they got them up, you know, one of these new high efficiency motors are like 2% better than old motors. That's all they could get. But I was thinking they could take the heat out, because everything goes to heat. If somehow they could sink the heat out of that motor and turn it back into electricity, it would then make that motor so much more efficient. You know, if you could reclaim some of the power back. But yeah, I thought that was pretty neat on, you know, how they're doing stuff.
Yeah.
And then now somebody will write an AI program that can monitor that and even squeeze more out of it. You know. But
So Kim, how far did you get on your navigator?
Well, I'd show you if I was out in my shop, but I'm still putting silk span on it a piece at a time, working my way up to the nose. And I think that's going to kind of spark me, and we'll get this thing done so I can at least fly it. Once again, I don't know if we're going to do it with going to fly it off water or not, but feeling good about it now to do the silk span, and that's an extreme move. I really got to feel like it to do that. But I want to have it ready small this year, which is weekend in June, or I got it in my book somewhere.
is there any reason you
First time
started?
it's flown in a long while.
Is there any reason, Kim, you start at the rear and go to the front? I always do it the opposite way, and I just wondered if there's a reason, better reason one way or the other.
I don't, well, like with, not really. I just started long ago when I was putting monocoat on fuselages. I always have them tapered, like a shingle toward the rear. You know what I'm trying to say? The front overlaps each section behind it. And it's not really worth even thinking about, but it's just one of those weird things that I do. Makes me feel a lot more professional,
Oh.
So,
What motor are you going to put in that?
and I need all the help I can get. So I'm going to put the original Cox Medallion 09 on it. It's got a strangle throttle, got a choke throttle around the exhaust, and that's what I had on it before. And it turned out to be just about a perfect engine for the airplane for the weight that I had. And, you can't get a really low idle out of it, or I couldn't. I've seen them. Tony Accurso has a 020 with a band throttle, and he can idle that thing down so low, it's crazy. But with the weight of the airplane and everything, and the ultimate full power ability of the engine, choking it down a little bit, let me land it, or do touch and goes in the pasture, and it'd slide on its belly and then launch back off. So it
I had a OS 10.
My screen keeps going dark.
I had an OS 10 on mine, but I couldn't get it to take off from the water. So then I put a 15.
Yeah.
But now I have an electric motor, an electric brushless on it now. And that works really well. The problem I had with the 15 is the tank was so small because it had to fit in that little pod that I would just get off the water and fly a couple of minutes and it'd be out of gas.
Yeah. Well, this originally had a Controlline wedge tank stuck in the top of the pod, and it just fed down to the wedge. And but like I said, it never tried to take off the water. It was always hand launched, and it worked out. I've got another metal tank I'm putting in the pot, but it's going to be fairly small. I'm going to try to get a 2-ounce tank in there, which will run that 09. But we ain't going to be setting any cross country records or anything.
So I saw this
I'm going to try to
of
enclose it just for pretty sake,
I saw this picture. Greg Thomas, he's a really expert free flight scale guy, Minnesota, and he made some kits. Well, he had built a shoestring stunner, Goldberg Controlline.
Oh yeah,
and it really looked good. But I was telling him I had watched that video. I think it was John where he was hand rubbing his finish, and he said he spent like 100 hours. And this guy said, well, he wasn't going to do that.
Yeah.
I think we bored Dennis right to sleep.
I paint.
A little of both, yeah. Haven't had much to say tonight. So.
I think
you're doing any drawing, Dennis? Getting any of that done?
I'm sorry again.
You getting any drawing done?
Yeah, I got some drawings done, and I actually spent a whole day in the workshop this week. So got the wing and stab covered on my Viking. So I'll have a new old timer for Brodak this year.
Oh, great. So you're getting a lot done.
Yeah.
So are any of the BMJR Controlline kits any good?
they have a really good reputation. He's got some good designs, interesting airplanes and stuff, and got a reputation for building a good quality product. So I do not have any myself, but he's got a couple there that I've looked at more than once. So
Brodex sold them there for a while. I don't know what happened, but
I think they still list some of the Controlline kits on the Brodex site, but he doesn't list any of the. BMJR has got some nice free flight, and I think they had some small RC pattern planes too.
Yeah. Well, this one here is a BMJR.
Is that a Blazer?
It's called a Smarty.
Oh, okay.
I've got a Goldberg Blazer kit that I might build someday. But I don't know. Now I'm pretty spoiled on the laser cutting.
Yeah. Well, Goldberg had good die cutting though, and their parts fit and stuff like that. So aside from the fact that some people might call it collectible or whatever, and you can't go wrong with a Goldberg kit. So
Does that Windmap run pretty well?
Yeah, I just started up a couple of times, and it's got a little balloon bladder on it. That's what somebody said. He called it a clown balloon, but I guess that's what he meant. I
Hold
use
it up in front of the camera again. Look.
Can you see it? And this is what I'm going to use for the bladder.
Well, is it a bladder
Yeah.
pressure, or is it a balloon tank on suction?
It'll be under pressure, but not too much pressure. You can't have too much, but a little is good.
That looks like it'll work. I think it'd be easier if you'd snip the tail end off and put a check valve in it so you can just fill it with a syringe from the rear. That's what I usually do. And you can put a bunch of gas in that thing. Be amazed at how much gas it'll hold. You can put more than you want in there.
Yeah.
You'll be tired of. I keep thinking Controlline, but that's not a Controlline plane, is it? So,
no.
That's free flight, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it free flight?
It's free flight. I had made a.
Yeah, you put too much in, you'll never get it back.
I made a unit that goes on the side here with radio in it, and I'm going to try it rudder only to start with.
have it spiral straight up like that, and don't put too much gas in it, and it'll come right back to you.
Yeah, it's got a timer. It's a tone timer.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter if it runs out of gas or not.
Those timers now, there's nobody makes a mechanical timer in the US anymore. I think the last one was this Hank Nystrom in Texas Timers, and he had somebody, some foreign country was making parts, and of course this, the guy getting older and that, and couldn't do it anymore. And so now there's one guy you can get them from in the UK, but of course that's going to take a while. I ordered a couple. Otherwise, people.
Yeah, Hank's in Tennessee shouldn't.
Yeah.
Have too much trouble getting.
Yeah, well, he's pretty much out of business now with the mechanical.
Well, you can put the fuse back on them. Remember, there used to be like a fuse you lit?
Yeah, that's for the DT. Use the fuse. Yeah.
I do like the
What
idea of
did that
having
do?
that
Just
rudder on
burn
it.
up
So.
until it pops the string?
Come again?
What does the DT do? Just burn
Well,
up until it pops a string?
the stab pops off, then it'll come down. It's like in a stall.
Yeah.
Wonder where John's at. He must be up there with his wife.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody know?
Could be. He hasn't mentioned. I don't know. He has not mentioned how she's doing in the past show or two, so don't have a report.
I know he had to get off early Friday, and then maybe taking off and going there. So
Yeah, man, I turned off the feed. I think it was 2:45 Friday night, and some of you were still talking. So that was a pretty good show once it got going. I always like the last hour or two of the show. If you ever tell somebody to watch the show, tell them to check out the last hour or two of it, and it's usually the best part.
pick up a bunch of old guys sleeping and shit.
I resemble that remark.
Yeah, no kidding.
It gets too late for me, and I go out to breakfast with some guys, and they want to be there at like 6:30.
You got some crazy friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, anybody that wants to go anywhere in Minnesota at 6:30 in the morning, it's got to be crazy or tough or both.
I left for work this morning at 5:30.
Jesus. It got up to 44 here today, and the sun was shining. It was nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been like that here too. So,
you know,
literally all of our snow is gone now. So I'm not going to miss it. So.
Yeah, this morning there was probably still 3 inches of snow in my yard, and I take my mom to therapy, and about, I don't know, 3 blocks from my house, no snow. All the way taking her there where we had to go and stuff for 20 miles away. But a lot of it melted today. But why in the hell there's so much snow here, and 3 blocks away there's just nothing. Just gone. But we must be in just a trough or something when you get snow off the lake, it hits here or something. But
We still have about 10 inches of snow on the ground.
Jesus.
Wow.
But it was the warmest today. We got up to 37.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, it's 44 here, and I mean, I thought about if there wouldn't been snow right around here, I would probably try to fly. Because it seems warm, even though 44 is cold as hell. I mean, when the fall, once it gets below 60, we quit flying.
Yeah. Well, problem here now is that it could be nice. Could be nice out, and as soon as you step on the grass, you'll never be seen again. It's just I think it's just a quagmire out there. So it's going to take a while for it to all drain out a little bit. So
yeah, you guys got a lot more moisture and stuff than it's been a dry winter here. I forget, we're 12 inches or so below normal.
Wow. No, we're pretty close to normal, but we've been getting rain instead of snow.
Yeah.
And so most of it's run off, but then when we had a pretty good snowfall last week, but then we had another fast meltdown,
Yeah.
just a day or two, and it's all gone again. So
we've had the rainiest winter on record in a long, long time here in South Carolina. It's rained almost every other day
Yeah, I've been
since
watching it like
the fall.
you and Mike from Tennessee down there to South Carolina. It's like, holy shit, have you guys got the rain?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we should have. Yeah, it's depressing.
Yeah, my front yard.
Look out the window. Yeah.
Raining now.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Well, someplace where the
Yeah.
hell the snow hit? Because when I was coming through the front room a minute ago and I let the dog out, it said something about they had some highway shut down until they get the cars towed off the interstate. But I didn't know that anybody was supposed to get a lot of snow. It must be up towards Pennsylvania or going up towards the East Coast or something, because it isn't snowing around
It
here.
could be.
Pardon me?
Sometimes I-40 will get blocked, or pieces will fall off of it because of the snow. And it's built, just right off the face of a mountain. And so it deteriorates and chunks of it fall off sometimes. So I don't know what it is or not. I'm just speculating. It sounds like an I-40 problem.
Yeah, I didn't catch the interstate. It just said the interstate was shut down. And it's like, yeah, who knows when they'd say the name again or the number.
Yeah.
I was watching a thing, it's like, going down 75 or whatever. They have 275 and 475. And it said that if you have an even number starting out, that makes it go around the city.
Mm-hmm.
If you have an odd number, that means it goes through the city. And I didn't realize that.
Yep.
I didn't need it. I know the north, south, east, west rule, but I didn't know that one, or about around or through. That's a new one on me.
Yeah, I never heard that before. But I don't know why there's like 275 or 475 is one that goes around the east side and one on the west side. It didn't say about that, but oh,
I'm going to bed, guys. I got to get up early to go to work. So
5:30, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
5:30 to take a stroll. Yeah. So
well, I'm taking 3 days off.
Well, have a
to
good
go
one.
to the robotics team, so I got to be there early for some meetings.
well, good luck to you and your team this week.
Yeah.
Thank
You guys
you.
worked hard to get there. So
Be careful in the morning because all the thawed
Yeah,
water
good
is
luck.
now frozen in your driveway and stuff.
All right, I'll take it easy. We'll see ya.
Bye.
take care, Tom.
Yeah.
Take care.
See you later. Bye, Tom.
Hey, Rusty. Thanks for checking in on the Cox Engine Forum.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for posting that. It's always nice to know I'm still providing some kind of inspiration out there.
Well, I kind of worried about after I posted it. I didn't intend for it to sound like something had happened to you. I had a couple of guys getting excited because they hadn't heard from you, and in the way, I guess the wording in my tribute to towing a streamer, but everybody appreciated you checking in.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody's going, oh, good Lord, not Rusty again. So, but no, I got on and posted to make sure everybody was straight on that. I'm doing okay. The only problem I got this week, bad knee. I can't walk on one knee. So who the hell knows what I did to deserve that? God.
Yeah.
Well, maybe the weather it'll dry out so you can do a little finishing. You don't get all the
maybe
dope and everything.
Yeah, and the way it's been right now, I've had to get the wet vac out and dry the floors a few times this winter. Not as much as I had feared, but more times than I wish I had to.
That sucks.
Yeah. But everything's all set up and waiting for me. I need to be able to get out there and do some work. Man. I'm looking forward to it. Actually act like an aeromodeler instead of just talking about it twice a week on an internet show.
Yes. On the news tonight, it said that precipitation is supposed to be around normal, warmer than normal, but we're not supposed to hit our 50-degree day until almost April, which it usually comes by the 10th of March. So it's going to be like last year.
Late.
It's going to be warmer than normal, but then it's just cool for April and May, and never really, you don't get any warm days in there.
Now it's been hitting 50 every day here, but can stay there and get higher than that. Yeah, if it would hit 60 a few.
Right. It was warm here yesterday, but the wind was just blowing like crazy. So you couldn't stand to be out there.
Yeah, I got one of those. I've got one of those decorative wind spinners in the backyard. Axial spindle, so it's got two counterweighting propellers, and it looks really cool when it spins. But man, it's been running the wheels off on that thing, and I'm surprised it hadn't flown apart. But it really goes when the wind blows.
Yeah.
Yeah, this time of year when it gets warm, it gets either rainy or windy or both. So.
Yeah, at least it's warming up. It'll finally be spring here before we know it and go out and do some flying.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's why I always declare March the official break in the seasons, and that's when I start seeing the light at the end of the tunnel and knowing I actually survived another harrowing South Carolina winter.
There you go.
Yeah, when one morning I'll get up and there'll be like 50 robins in my backyard. Now, no, spring is finally here.
Yeah, spring's here. Yeah, the robins have been here for a while.
Well, have they? Oh, okay.
In fact, I haven't seen them like come and gone. We'll see the. Let's see what else. Well, we're starting to see goldfinches now. That's the next migratory bird that started passing through. And the purple stay the year round or the all summer long thing. This must be their final destination.
Yeah. Saw our first bluebirds this week.
Cool.
No kidding, really. I love seeing those. But even during migration season around my yard, they're few and far between. I love being able to see one and get a good camera shot on one. So they take a pretty picture.
Skunks are out here, so it's warming up.
Huh.
That damn dog of mine, I don't know how it keeps from getting hit, but it can sure go out there and make them spray. It smells so bad outside the house. I knew that dog had got hit. Comes in, it was fine. And I'm like, I don't know. Maybe it's so short that it squirts over top of it or something. Who the hell knows?
Hey, dude, it's a gland in the tail, isn't it?
Yeah.
They squirt.
I don't know if it works around and tries to stay at the front of the skunk or whatever, because it sounds like hell when they're going at it out there on the side of the yard, but she doesn't. That's twice now. Well, the first time she got a little bit on her one front paw, and that was it. But I mean, that skunk lets loose, and The whole yard neighborhood reeks for a day.
I like to catch up on my
Yeah.
pepper too.
What?
A couple of weeks ago, I walked in my garage and there was a skunk eating my cat's food in
Oh
my
shit!
shop. Because I leave my shop door open all the time. And I came out here one night to close the door. I flipped the light on. There was a damn skunk 3 feet from my workbench eating my cat food.
Did it try to spray you or did it take off?
I didn't spray, but everything smelled like shit because they just stink anyway, man.
Oh, okay.
They smell bad. They smell bad anyway. They don't have to spray to smell bad. Just even when they're around, you can.
Yeah. Watt had a skunk nest by his pond down the hill on the far side, directly across from the staging area, and I think he finally got somebody to remove that skunk. I don't know how he managed to do it. I guess Jeff did it, his brother-in-law.
Yeah, my
But,
dad had
skunk lived down.
two of them at his house, but I removed them with a 22 at night with a flashlight taped to the top of the gun.
Yeah, that's my preferred method.
Mhm.
Yeah, mine too. Oh, speaking of another thing about March is it's both Watt's and my birthday month, and so we always have a cake cutting at our March meeting in Huntersville. We usually slice it up with a 14-inch master air screw propeller. So look out for pictures of us cutting the cake this year with the master air screw prop.
Pusher or tractor?
It depends on whether they go around the counterclockwise. Yeah.
Depends how they're going to start serving. They're going to serve from the right or the left.
Yeah, yeah. If cake hits you in the face, it's a pusher prop. If cake hits you in the back of the head, it's a tractor prop.
Yeah, okay.
Depends on where you're standing. Depends on where the pilot's eating.
You're in a better mood yet, Mike? You got all them done?
I got 2 more. Well, 4 more, top and bottom, but 2 more ribs.
All right. See, it wasn't that bad. That's why he came on tonight. That pissed him off so bad he figured he'd come on here to talk to us, which would be worse than doing what he was doing.
You guys are just background noise, man. That's all.
That's what we all.
Hey, I got Dennis B out here in YouTube land, and I neglected to post his question a while ago. So he says, I'll try it. Ask Denny, if the Nobler was designed today, what would be different? Bigger engine, bigger elevator, and longer maybe? That's from Dennis B. Anybody?
I'm sure it would be, bigger. Well, certainly the airplane when it was designed, in 57 or it was designed around the best engine available at the time, which is the Fox 35. All right. It was the right size for that power available. If the Nobler was designed today, it would be, the best, what would your best engine be today? Would you go with one of the big piped engines? Would you go with something more generic like an LA-46? Or recognizing that all of those are, maybe scarce, would it be designed for electric, And so it's there's a lot of different factors you could throw in there. But the best airplanes you've had at any particular, take it at say 10-year gaps, say 57 for a Nobler to say 67 or so. Still flying 35s there, but the OS 35s were available and they were stronger. And 10 years later, went from Tiger 46s into the early Schnurl engines and stuff, bigger, more powerful yet. I think the airplane designs have reflected the engines that have been available at the time. And then for the past, what, probably 25 years or so, it's been, people have been running, just went over the top on big power, like the 60s, and then piped engines and things like that. I think the other flip side of the whole thing is that we're limited to a 70-foot hemisphere, 70-foot circle. And so that limits really what the practical size of the airplane is. Personally, I think the biggest airplanes are a little too big. The 700 square inch airplanes are too big and stuff. And I'm still really fond of airplanes right around, my own personal taste is I like airplanes around 600 square inches or even a little less, being just easily managed and everything like that.
What did
So
Bob
Dennis
Hunt-
B, I don't know if I made any sense at all, but that's, I think it's probably reflects the engines available and stuff like that as much as anything.
Do you know what Bob Hunt had in his Caprice?
Originally, he built it with a Fox 35, and then later on, I think his later one was, I think, an Aero Tiger.
Yeah, I know at the end it was an Aero Tiger. I was just kind of wondering, so that's just a little bit bigger than a Nobler or whatever, but
yeah, it's basically a Nobler. Yeah, I think they did. What did they do? They did a slightly the East Coast formula was a slightly thicker, nobler wing. Typically, they were early on. They were into foam and stuff like that, so they got mass produced basically. And then of course they did all their own aesthetics around that. He had his layout, the Caprice layout, according to the book he wrote on the Caprice layout. The numbers, if you will, the moment arms and stuff were based on numbers that he had received from Gene Schaefer, who was the hottest flyer in the area at the time and stuff like that. So he followed Gene's lead on that, and it obviously served him very well too. So
yeah, I didn't know if that was when like the OS was out, so they had more power and they could make it a little thicker wing, little,
yeah, I think they were trying. One of the things that they used to fly out east. Maybe you've heard stories of the Garden State circle burners or flying field. It's a lot like Rouge Park in Detroit. It was a treed-in area, tended to be a little breezy and very turbulent. And one of the best ways to beat the turbulence is to build an airplane that flew a little bit faster, probably a little bit heavier, than what would have been considered, a good weight, a little faster and heavier and stuff to try to burn through the heavy air that they were flying, the turbulent air they were flying in. So their airplanes tended to be tighter and faster than some of the other things. So.
Okay.
My only experience with Noblers is a couple of Brodak ARF Noblers, and I ran FP35s with Dubro 4-ounce clunks right behind it. And that was always the perfect combination for me out at my windy Fort Jack.
Yeah, that's a lot. A lot more power than the old Fox 35.
Yeah, I don't know if Jeff's listening in, but yeah.
Because like after
I think mine were 40 ounces or 38 ounces, something like that.
Yeah, because like the Caprice and all the models around that time, and then the piped engines came out, and that's when everything really got bigger and stuff like that. They're using OPS 40s and OS 40s. Then all the
What's an OPS 40?
OPS?
Yeah.
It was just
what is OPS?
OPS.
It was an Italian engine. They had their roots in racing, and they happen to have a rear exhaust engine, so it got the attention of people flying stunt, stuff like that. They had ABC layout. They were, the good basic engine to start with, and of course you'd have to retune them for stunt. But if you did, you could make a hell of a stunt engine out of them. My nephew built a couple airplanes around OPSs and really liked them. So
Yeah, that's when they came out with, was it the FSR 40s, the OS
Well, I
FSR?
started the first traditional port 40s from OS. Yeah. And took stunt flyers the longest time to try to figure out how to make them run right, because they were made to run fast and they didn't want to run slow. And people were trying to put big old props on them and make them lug and stuff like that, and they just weren't happy doing that. And nobody had figured out, well, gee, let the darn thing wind up a little bit, put a flat pitch prop on it, and let it, and enjoy the ride. But it took a while for people to figure that part
I
out.
flew those FSRs on RC planes quite a bit in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Dad liked them.
It was stronger than any of the other 40s around for sure. I mean, it was like a giant leap forward. OPS, no, HP was a really good 40 in the early Schnurl engines. The HP 40 was nice because it was physically small and compact, had a nice light casting and stuff like that. And they were lighter than some of the other engines out there. Really good power.
Did HP ever make a rear exhaust or not?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know either. I know when, the pipes came out, they all went with rear exhaust.
Mm-hmm.
Now I got a Super Tiger 40 that really runs, but I never heard of anybody ever using a Super Tiger 40 for.
The G21 Super Tiger 40s were great rat race engines and lousy stunt engines. They didn't want to lug, they didn't want to pull a prop or anything like that either. Again, maybe they'd have been better just running fast. I remember one guy who used to fly his with an 11.4 nylon prop, and the thing worked like crazy. Nobody copied what he was doing. But I was going to say too, up until not that long ago, you used to have to the line sizes broke on the engine displacement. If you used a 40, you were able to use 015 lines. If you used a 45 or 46, you had to use 018s. So a lot of people, use that in their decision making process. And there were more than a few Super Tiger 40s had the guts of a 46 inside them too.
Yeah.
Which was with the darn Tigers, that was not that hard a thing to do. So
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
yeah, pretty easy to do actually. And when it finally went away, when the line sizes were based on airplane weight instead of engine displacement, which is the way it should have been, doing it on weight instead of displacement, that took all of the that threw away all of the rules, if you will, as far as engine size and airplane size and everything like that. You got people putting 60s and or 46s and Noblers and 60s and Magnums and stuff like that, and having a good old time with it. So
Well, that's what my brother said. I didn't realize that at one time they had 25 size pylon racing, and a OS 20. Well, it was 20 size. You couldn't go bigger than a 20. But people figured out that the OS 25 piston cylinder would fit right in the 25 size.
Yep.
So they were running them, and
Yep. Absolutely.
Stuff, but yeah, it was just that they bored it out, and you had to put a different head and piston cylinder in there, and then had 25.
And it was indistinguishable from the 20 unless somebody popped the head and checked the board and the stroke. So, Yep.
So in the Controlline competition, what about builder of model rule? Have they maintained that?
Mostly.
Yeah.
It's been watered down a little bit from over the years and stuff like that, but it's still intact.
Good.
Depends on the event.
So.
What about like FAI?
No, they don't have a builder of the model there.
Yeah. I thought I read somewhere like with those combat models, they bought them from somebody.
Yeah.
Oh, there's no BOM in any combat event. None. No. BOM is only in stunt. And probably scale, I imagine, has BOM. But
Yeah.
combat, you can buy and fly in combat. That's not against the rule.
Mm-hmm. Do you think most guys buy their airplanes, Mike, or are there still a lot of builders out there?
I'd say it's 50-50. Well, if it's F2D, shit, broke my cap strip. If it's F2D, they're buying models. They're buying them from the Ukraine and from Russia. Nobody builds F2D models because nobody flies a foamy 15 in FAI combat or F2D combat. So F2D, they're buying their models. In speed limit, a lot of guys are using Russian airplanes with LA 25s or ASP 25s. So I would say in speed limit, half the guys probably build, half the guys buy. I mean, if I looked around my shop, I probably am 50-50 myself. I build the 40 sized ones and then the 25 sized ones I buy. In fast combat, just about everybody's building big foamies. There are still a few guys buying Russian planes, but most guys are building. I'd say 75% of guys are building big foamies for fast. And in half A, I'd say it's about 50-50 again. Half the guys are building and half the guys are buying Russian ones.
Mm-hmm.
There's no shame in flying store-bought models in combat, though.
No.
They don't last 30 seconds, man, you know? So guys look at them and go, I can pay $40 for a model that's going to last 30 seconds, or I can build one for 20 that's going to take me how many hours to do. That's kind of the trade, you know?
Doesn't sound like much for a trade. You buy an airplane for $40? I'm surprised to hear that. So.
I think you get them as cheap as $36, $37 if you buy enough of them.
Wow.
And that's for the 15 sized and 25 sized speed limit planes. The half A planes are like $32 a piece. Sometimes they go on sale for like $27.
Yeah, it'd be pretty hard to justify building anything for that. So.
But you gotta buy 10 at a time. That's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
You can't the way the shipping containers come from Russia or the Ukraine, the way they build them for customs, you buy 10, 20, or 30 at a time. So, even still 10 models at 40 per, that's $400. And then you're looking about $110 shipping usually. So it ends up being $500 for 10 models. A lot of guys will just go in together, Yeah. They'll buy 30 and split the shipping. Chad and I bought 10 last year and split the shipping. So that wasn't too bad. But if you're going to buy them, it's just better to buy as many as you can at one time. I mean, if you look on the MACA site, man, these guys right now, they're all showing off their shipments that they're getting. They're getting boxes of 30 and 40 models for the 2020 season.
Mm-hmm.
And they did the same thing last year,
Seems like there might be at least a small niche market there for somebody buying them at say 100 at a time or something like that, and then basically selling them from a USA warehouse. So,
So typically, how many models would you go through in a year?
If you're flying F2D and you're going to 6 contests a year, which a lot of these guys do, they go to four to 6 F2D contests a year in the States. You can go through 40 models easily. And they don't like to fly repairs either. That if you looked at some of these guys' shops, they probably got 100 models, just that need repair. If it's a minor repair, they'll do it. But if they split a wing off, they're not fixing that model. It goes in a trash can. I mean, Sam comes home with so much stuff from the Nats out of the trash can. And there are guys, like, you can take 2 models and put them together to build one if you're willing to cut one off at the center rib and cut another wing at the center rib and, you know, truss up the spars together. A lot of guys do that are on a budget, you know, but all the top F2D guys, they don't have time for that, man. They're not fixing airplanes. They're off to the next contest with, you know, I think they take like a dozen models to an F2D contest is what you take. You need 12 models to get through the contest. So
Wow.
if they need airplanes, they buy them.
Here, I'm worried about whether to fly my my 7-year-old airplane or my 9-year-old airplane. Since I'm not going to be able to finish a brand new airplane this year, so.
Why not?
Because I haven't started it yet. So.
I thought your Viking, or does that not count?
Well, that's it. That's an old timer. That's not a real airplane. So.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, the real reason why is he has friends that get him to draw battery boxes for another airplane and this and
Yeah. Well, that doesn't help any. I do have to. I think I am going to commit to kind of expanding our conversation the other day, Steve, and you we were chatting on the phone. I think I'm going to have to just start cleaning house and all these half-built airplanes and start making some pay it forwards, if you will. Couple of donations at the intermediate contest, you know, at the Nats, and get rid of some at Rodak and stuff like that.
Well, if you got other ones, Dennis, let me know and we'll try
Yeah.
to set them up and stuff like that. I got, if they're, you know, like some of the stuff is older IC, I got, you know, different motors and stuff like that I can throw on them and for the
Yeah,
kids.
I do not have any IC airplanes at all anymore. So.
Oh, I didn't know where all you stopped.
Yeah.
But we can get some electrical, you know,
Yeah.
motors and
Yeah,
controllers.
I just need to do a little house cleaning. That's all. So.
I think I got a couple of the was it TR? Was it the guy from Australia that does them?
Oh, the KR timers.
KR, yeah. I got a couple of them, so we can round up a lot of stuff to.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. I've got a bunch of the KR timers, and you know, they work well and stuff, but I don't use them anymore. So I need to clean those out too. So thinking about just dumping those on the forum. I think I can get rid of those pretty quickly. But,
Yeah, I'm looking forward there to Brodak to set up that one for the Nats to take there. And
yeah, I'll definitely have that one. That's definitely on the short list. I want to finish up the Viking first, and then I don't know. I've got a couple other built airplanes that are ready to cover. I have a couple mostly built airplanes that are nearly ready to cover. I'm just going to start going down the list here and start getting rid of some of these.
well, the one thing is that if you bring some that need to be covered, hell, we can play around with them at Brodak and cover them. I can take one back to the motel room.
Mm-hmm.
You know, stuff like that. I can bring an iron along and some monocoat or whatever, plastic covering, and at least get that part of it done. And, you know, maybe even somebody else, if we can get that done, will take them home and paint fuselage or something and bring it to the Nats or get them ready.
Yeah, it'd be nice to help out in the intermediate event or beginner event, you know, what they do there. So
move your thing is moved. Your sound went out.
I just got a note
that.
Say something now. Now it's something still.
What's going on here?
Now it's going good.
Okay. Anyhow, yeah, just finish off some of these airplanes and stuff. And have fun with that. I did hear something here that kind of scared the crap out of me too. Talking to Jan at Brodak, said they just found out their balsa prices are going up 110%. The price that they pay is going up 110%.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I'm buying kits.
Well, you know, that kind of a thing is, I mean, it's gotta shock the hell out of their kit prices and everything like that. It's like, what the hell are they gonna do? You know?
Tom Dixon just raised his prices. So his quick build kits were $150. They're $175 now.
Yeah.
Because I got a letter in the mail from him that he had SIG glow plugs in stock, and he also mentioned all his kit prices went up by $25 or whatever those did anyway.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, that's really going to put a damper in kit sales. You know, it won't be 100% on a kit, but the damn balsa in there, you know, probably at least $50-$60.
Yeah, I don't know. Hey, Len, welcome.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Real good.
Hey,
What's up, Len?
A little late. It's better than never.
You just in time. I just put the last cap strip on, man.
Awesome.
And
He could have used your help earlier, Len. So
yeah. What was he doing? What's he up to?
Now he'll be in a better
cap
mood.
stripping away there. He needed some help.
What's that wing? What's that wing for? Is that the Galaxy?
That's the Galaxy. Yeah, that
looks good.
I got the tips on it today. Got the belt crank platform in, and just put and
Good
made up
for you.
Up the belt crank and the lead outs. Just finished the cap strips. I may start the sheeting tonight. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe I'm done. I'm hungry. I need.
You just go.
Oh yeah, there is some.
You just go as far as you can.
Say again, Len.
You only go as.
Yeah.
He's gone.
He's gone. Damn it, Len.
See ya.
that didn't take long.
It kicked me out. Rusty, don't fall asleep.
My eyes are open.
That's all right, Len. So far, I've had the same problem tonight and whatever else, and
yeah.
So we've all been
dropsies.
While you weren't here, we've all been filling in for you. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Everybody's doing my job for me. Holy cow.
Everybody's taking nap breaks here. So.
They're not really falling asleep. It's just their heads are heavier than normal, and you want to
yeah. I almost fell asleep.
Well,
I almost fell asleep waiting for him to start the show. So
I've been actually
y'all made it barely in time.
I've actually been working on a model airplane this whole time.
That's awesome. Tomorrow I'm off work, so I'm back on mine tomorrow. I'm going to be on it all day.
Ah, good.
That's what I'm hoping. Get up early, get some breakfast in me, take the daily dosage of pills, and head for the basement.
Yep.
What are you gonna have for breakfast? Canadian bacon and toast, or?
No bacon. Not anymore. Not anymore, Steve. More like raisin bran and some fruit. That's about it. Old guy food.
I'll chew on some balsa dust, man.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna go down and chew on balsa dust all day long. That's right. You got it.
That's your fiber content.
Yeah, get my fiber. Naomi says, "Get my fiber content." Well, I've got the wing in my new Cardinal, so I'm excited. Tomorrow, hopefully, I can get the tails all in and get finished sheeting the bottom, and maybe even get the top block on for the final time. So I'm excited.
You're gonna have.
Is that the 92 Cardinal or something like that?
Yeah, 92. That's right, 92 Cardinal. Except for I'm putting the landing gear in the fuse instead of the wing.
Okay.
What do they
Because
call
I
it?
do a lot of-
92 Cardinal. Is that what it weighed when Wendy got done with it, or?
No, I'm afraid not. I'll be happy if I can keep it under 92 ounces, though. That'll be good. No, I'm hoping for about 75 ounces with a 77.
Oh, okay.
If I can get it a little lighter, maybe, but not much.
Yeah, I know. Wendy
it's a
built
really big
ass airplanes that really weighed.
Well, some of his stuff did. I mean, some of it didn't. You know, it's all relevant, right? Depending on what you're putting. Like Windy usually didn't have underpowered airplanes, so he put lots of power in them, so it seemed to work for him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was talking to Rich Jacobo, and that one Stuka that Rich did, I mean, it was beautiful. It had that 90 in it.
Yeah, the 90 Stuka. Yeah, I've watched the videos on that till I look like them.
But he said he couldn't fly it because it pulled his arm out of socket. You know.
But you know, it's funny. I have Windy's Novanta, and it's got the 90 in it that he had in it, and it doesn't pull my arm out of my socket. It doesn't pull any more really than a 60 ship. It feels very comfortable.
Yeah, I forget. I think that's a lighter airplane though than that Stuka. Came out heavy.
Yeah, like
you know, he did the tapered wing in it and all that plywood and stuff they put in there.
Sure. And it was a foam wing as well.
Yeah.
It was a foam sheeted wing as well in 4 pieces. But,
it sure did look nice though.
But the Novanta, it only weighed, when it was built, it weighed 60 ounces with the 90 in it. But then after it was crashed twice, I got it. And now it weighs 68 ounces, which is still pretty light for a 90 ship. And it doesn't seem like it pulls any more than a 60 ship to me.
Well, probably not. That's still a darn reasonable weight and everything like that. And whether it has a 90 or a 60, it's still going, nominally a 5-second lap or whatever. And it's just going to generate so much pull. So
I was shocked how nice that airplane flies and how gentle it really is compared to my 90 ship, which weighs 88 ounces. It really pulls. Like, I mean, it does just about take my arm away. But, you know, I mean,
Jacobo's airplane weighed 90 some ounces, I think.
Wow, that's a heavy model. Yeah, he had the same problem I did. He went too heavy on the paint.
Yeah.
You see, I went too heavy on the paint. That's what killed me. I mean, mine looks beautiful. It's a gorgeous looking airplane. It's just that I just laid way too much paint on it. And what really killed me is I used some of that Brodak primer, and that was a bad move. It added a lot of weight. One coat of Brodak primer basically put the airplane in its own coffin, and it was just as heavy. It just beat me. It was like once I'd done that, I sanded and screwed around with it for days, but it was too late. I buggered it and I knew it. And I sort of painted myself into a corner, so to speak. And it's like, well, now you live by the sword, you die by the sword. You've done it.
And I think I did the same thing to an airplane, but I thought I wanted the white instead of gray to try to cover gray primer.
Right.
And that's why I used the Brodak primer, because it's white.
Yeah, it was a bad choice. I will never use that stuff again. I don't even look at it, because if you pick up the can of Brodak primer, you know it's heavy. The can is heavier than a can of regular dope. And I never really thought about it until after, and I had another can of it, and I was like, holy shit, this weighs more than the dope can.
Well, I was talking to John Paris, and he was using it, but he said that he mixed it 80-20.
Yeah, see, that probably, see, I used it straight and just added enough thinner in it so I could spray it.
Right. And that's what he said. He made it thin like primer you buy out of a spray can.
Okay.
And he said
I didn't thin it enough.
He says it works good. It dries fast and everything else once you get it really thinned out.
thinned out. Yeah, because you got lots of thinner in it. With lots of thinner in it, it's going to dry quick.
And he says that then it sprays out real nice. You can do a real light coat and all that.
Well, see, I had two things going against me. Number one, the stuff I had was old. It had been sitting around the hobby shop way too long. I should never have bought it to start with. The pigment wasn't right. It never dried properly. It dried kind of tacky, and it stayed tacky. And I was having a fit because I didn't know what to do to fix it once I had it on there, and it wouldn't dry. And then if you tried to sand it, it would all gum up and ball up, and oh, I was in a heck of a state.
Yeah, that's with that one of mine. It's now set 2 years.
Yeah.
And it's finally not sticky anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what happened with mine. It didn't take 2 years, but it did take about a month before I could actually work and start sanding it and painting it and monkeying with it. And
But I've been playing around with it a little bit, and now I'm wet sanding it with 400, and I'm taking it all off.
Yeah. Well, have at it. It's a lot of work. I know. I didn't sand enough of mine off, apparently. Because, like I say, the airplane came out to being 88 ounces with the 90. Now, I mean, it flies okay, and it does the pattern just fine, but it really pulls like through the whole thing.
I'll say one thing, though. If you have like wood grain or anything like that, once you spray that primer on there, there's no more wood grain.
I know. Zero. It's like as flat can be after that.
Yeah, but it's like a 1/4 inch thick.
Exactly. But anyway, I lived, I learned, I won't do it again. My next airplane, the one I did last year, it came out right at 60 ounces.
Yeah, I can't beat that.
But I used the, what was that stuff Sparky was using? He doesn't use it
DC
now.
540.
DC 540. That stuff was fantastic. It worked amazing. I still have 8 cans of it. I have enough to do my plane this year. I still have enough. So, but it worked really, really well, and it made a pretty nice finish. I didn't work that hard at it. I could do a lot better, but
yeah, I went back to the Napa store where I was getting it, and they're out of the old stuff, and they got new stuff in there again now.
Yeah, you don't want to use the new stuff. It's no good.
What's wrong with the new stuff?
It dries differently. It doesn't have the same contents to it.
Because
they changed the mix.
Yeah, they changed the formula. It's more sticky or something. It doesn't dry
as nice. It's I don't remember the exact thing that it does, but
let me tell you a story. So I had read all about that DC 540 stuff, and I built that Tamigo pulse jet last year, and I used Class Coat epoxy paint on it.
Okay.
So I bought some DC 540, and that's what I primed the orange pulse jet with.
Yeah.
And then I painted it with Class Coat, brushed it on. I got a really nice finish out of it. I mean, the model came out really, really nice.
Yeah.
And then I saw the thread about the DC 540 formula changing, and I went down because I didn't even know which formula I had, which it sounds weird. But I went down to Napa and I got a few more cans, and I got it home, and I started looking at the cans, and I had a little bit left in the can that I had.
The original can, yeah.
And it was the new formula.
Oh, wow.
I never did even have a can of the original formula. It was the new formula is what I used on the jet with the Class Coat, and I didn't see any real issues with it. I mean, it sanded fine and it filled the grain well. And
wow,
you just gotta let it sit a little longer. Well, that 540, you could spray it on and sand it within 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it dried pretty quick, and I hit it twice with the primer and sanded it twice.
That's awesome.
On the Class Coat. But I was wondering, my question was, does it react differently to the dope or something? Because that stuff is safe for dope, right?
No, it doesn't react different to the dope. It's just how it sanded off and didn't fill
ball
the
up or anything.
sandpaper and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, trying to think back to Sparky's thread on that. I think that's what you're referring to.
I am.
He wasn't he saying that the stuff didn't sand out properly?
That's what he was going on about. And I never tried the new formula. I've only used the old formula, so I don't know what I'm comparing. Like I wouldn't know whether I haven't compared apples to apples here. Because I've only used the one formula, which was the old formula.
And I only used the new formula.
Yeah.
I was using the old formula because if I'd have known it was new, I probably wouldn't have. I wouldn't have used
Yeah, you probably wouldn't have got it hearing that it was no good. Exactly.
Right.
Wow.
But I did it and didn't realize till after when I looked at the can that it was the new formula. But I didn't seem to have any issues with it. But I'm no priming and sanding expert, so I don't know what he's seeing when he sands an airplane that I would see.
But hey, if the new formula worked and put a pretty decent finish on an airplane, hey, can't be all bad.
And it was my first time working with Class Coat 2-part epoxy paint too. And boy, I tell you, that stuff is a dream to work with, man.
They say that the Class Coat primer works really good.
Okay.
But I've never did it. My brother has. He loves Class Coat. And he swears he can get just as light a finish, but you know, he's doing RC airplanes. So I just never bought it and tried it because it's pretty expensive.
So run me through the process with Class Coat. What do you do?
It's just a 2-part epoxy finish. It's like K&B.
Yeah.
Okay. I've never used that stuff. So what do? Do you mix it in a jar?
Well, you mix it. The way I mixed it was in thirds.
Okay.
The 2 parts and then the thinner.
Okay.
And they recommend. I mean, there's a Class Coat thinner that you can buy, but they say as long as you use any high-end lacquer thinner, and they spell it out in the directions. They tell you which one to buy. You don't want to use like cheap Home Depot Chinese lacquer thinner. There's a certain brand that they tell you to use. But you just mix it up, and I did like 33, 33, 33, and
okay, so 33% hardener, 33% resin, and 33% thinner.
Right, but I was brushing it. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Brushing it. If you're spraying it, they tell you to go heavier on the thinner.
Thinner, yeah, obviously. Okay, that makes sense.
But
and how long do you have? What's the working life?
I think you get about 60 minutes out of it before it starts to kick off. If I want to,
So in other words, enough time to do a coat, and then you mix new stuff to do the next coat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I heard that you can stick it in the refrigerator or whatever and get a day out of it. Actually.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
There's some YouTube stuff online about using it.
Okay.
But yeah, it's knowing how much to mix. You know, you mix.
And where do you get this stuff? At the local hobby shop?
No, from Class Coat. You order it direct from them.
Okay.
They've got a website, and it's crazy expensive, man. It's like crazy expensive.
Okay.
You going to Toledo this year?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going.
Class Coat is always at Toledo.
Oh, cool.
How well you can see this. Let me see if I can get the light off it the right way here.
Yeah, we're going to pick up our fuel, right? Oh, that's awesome. That looks pretty good.
Yeah, that's the finish on the jet.
That looks good. Nothing wrong with that.
It's beautiful stuff. I've seen a lot of big RC scale type airplanes and stuff really look nice. I mean, really look nice.
I want to ask him if he had silk span or anything under that. Like, I wonder what he's got underneath. No?
No silk span.
So it's just right over wood.
Right over wood, primed with the new formula of the DC 540.
Okay. Well, that's cool.
No dope underneath. It's just primed with the DC 540. And then...
That wing is hardwood, though, isn't it, Mike?
What's that?
Is that wing hardwood?
The wing is bass. It's called
Yeah.
bass. But this is
Okay.
this is what it comes in, Len. These are the I think these are the
Okay.
pint.
Yeah.
But I want to say
Cool.
these were like $35 a piece, maybe, or maybe
Woo, woo.
29, something
Yeah,
like.
that's. Yeah,
Yeah.
you want to make sure you pick your stuff right when you're using that kind of paint.
I think it was about $70 for these 2 cans shipped.
Wow.
Then if you want to do a 3-color or 4-color airplane,
Yeah.
each one of them are
Yeah,
35 bucks.
yeah. Then you want to get a mortgage on your house while you're at it. A new one. Remortgage the house to paint your airplane.
But when they last, if you get a plane that lasts a long time,
Well,
you don't got to
exactly.
worry about the finish or anything like that. It's
Like basically, I only do 2 kinds of finish up until now. I either do a dope finish or I do a rattle can finish. One or the other.
yeah, I haven't did anything but dope or rattle cane myself. I've never.
Yeah, I've never tried anything else. That's all I've ever tried. Or
I never
I mean,
I never
iron
did
on.
K&B epoxy. Now my brother got into it because he was racing pylon and stuff like that.
I'm
And
sure
if
it's
you
about
didn't
the
have-
same thing.
Yeah, if you didn't have a K&B epoxy back then, your finish just ran off your airplane because when they're using 40, 50
High nitro, yeah, high nitro fuel just kills anything.
Yeah, but it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt K&B or Glasgow.
I'm very
Dennis.
tempted to me. Dennis, we lost him. He's sleeping. Him and Rusty are both sleeping, sawing logs there.
Hey,
There's Rusty, just woke up for a second.
Hey,
And I'm gonna get out of here, guys. I'm gonna go get something to eat. I skipped dinner tonight because I was out here farting around with this thing. So I'm gonna go
All
get
right,
some
Mike.
food. I'll see
good
you
deal.
guys.
Get that damn thing done and get your SV11 together.
Well, the plan is to get this wing covered tomorrow,
Okay.
Yeah.
get it in the airplane, and glue the tail feathers on, and then it can sit until ready to shoot some color dope on it.
That's
Yeah,
right.
once-
In the
once the
meantime, you
water
put
gets
the
better
other-
there. I mean, shit, you got crappy. It's not too cold, but with all the rain, you'd get a shitty finish with dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the right time for that.
Right. I'll catch you guys Friday.
Sounds good.
Hey, Mike, have a good
Have a
week.
good one, Mike.
See ya.
yeah, take it easy, man. See ya. Yeah, I guess I'll go ahead and close it out too. 11:59. That's right on schedule. So, well, let's call it a night. Everybody on YouTube, thanks for coming, and all you live guys too. Wouldn't be a show without you. So, thanks for joining us. Thanks for holding up the conversation, and we covered a broad spectrum of topics tonight. So, anyway, y'all have a great week, and until Friday, fair winds, tight lines, and we'll
Hey, Rusty?
see y'all later. Good night.
Hey, Rusty,
Yeah.
get a nap in
Hey.
on Friday before the show.
Yeah, I always do after dialysis. Yeah, we stayed up at 2:45 this past Friday.
I know it.
Yes, we did.
Or that's
We'll
when I
be here.
closed the stream. All right, man. Y'all take care, and we'll see you later.
Have a good one, Rusty. Night, night.
Yeah, I will. All right. Good night.
Night. We got to try to wake Dennis up so when he wakes up,
Yeah.
we're not all gone.
Hey, Dennis.